Hey everybody, and welcome to the Sports Club. Ooh, my bad. Welcome to the Sports Plug. I am your host Xavier Williams with my co-host
Jordan Briggs. Nice to meet y'all again.
My bad. I might be a little tipsy. We have Cinco de Mayo edition.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, let's crack these open.
Gotta crack the bad boys.
Yes, sir. So this is a different episode we have today. Usually we are a little bit more serious, whatnot, of course, with our sports talk, but today I feel like we should have a little bit more of a fun, interactive talk with, of course, ourselves and also with our fans that will be joining on Facebook and also other platforms.
Celebrate the right way.
Exactly. And with that being said, we have to have our beer. Got to have that Dos Equis in us.
Definitely. Favorite beer. Favorite.
Yes, sir. So if you're tuning in out there, please go ahead and tap the screen. Go ahead and tap a like, tap a share. And also tap your beer if you got one.
Tap it.
Because like I said, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Definitely, guys. If you got the crib, sit with us, please.
Now, also, too, just to give you a disclaimer, Cinco de Mayo is not a Mexican holiday. That actually falls on September 16th. So when you celebrate Cinco de Mayo, we are not celebrating a Mexican holiday.
Wow, you learn something new every single day.
And that's what we're here for, because we provide more than just sports. We are the plug for more than just sports. We also the plug for life as well.
There you go. I didn't know that.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. So. That's what I'm here for. So, how's your day been, Jordan?
Oh man, so far so good. It's a little hot. You know, the weather a little muggy. Starting to feel like Houston again, but overall uplifting spirits, man. Everything's opening back up slowly but surely. Economy's getting back going, and I'm excited. I'm excited. So I'm feeling good. How's your day been?
It's been great, you know, just like you said, with the weather coming back to where it needs to be, especially out here in Houston. At least, for me in Houston, at least 85 degrees.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how it needs to be.
Traffic's back though, and that's no fun.
Traffic is back. That is very unfortunate, but at least we are happy, we are healthy. You know, of course, we thank God for that, and let's have a great Cinco de Mayo.
Yes,
holiday, and also enjoy, like I said, the time we have. The only thing we're missing, honestly, is tacos.
Hey, you're right. And also, people, disclaimer: make sure you're celebrating safely, because here at the Sports Club, we don't promote dangerous, you know what I'm saying, celebration. Not. Always responsibly.
Yes, sir.
Drink responsibly.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, sir. Thank you. So another reason why, of course, Cinco de Mayo is such a important sports day is because of course, the boxing landscape.
Yes.
So usually every Cinco de Mayo, especially in our generation, is usually based upon some type of boxing pay-per-view event. In most recent years, of course, usually names like Floyd Mayweather or Canelo Alvarez are guys that are usually been fighting on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, I know that.
Yes. So what I did was I went ahead and looked up the origin of the Cinco de Mayo fights, and first started off with Julio, Cesar, Chavez.
Okay.
His first fight back in 1993 against Terrence Ali, they had, and that's what first started off the initial Cinco de Mayo fights out in Las Vegas.
Right.
And he started, like I said, he started it off, and after that, Oscar De La Hoya took the reins.
Oscar, that's my guy.
From Julio, and in the early 90s, he had his fights. In the late 90s and early 2000s, he had his fights as well. His major fight was against Yuri Boy Campos in May of 2003. And with Oscar, of course, with him being the golden boy at the time, you have any memories of Oscar?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think recently, I remember him the most, obviously, because he kind of hates on Floyd a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
A lot of it.
It's
a lot of animosity in that.
Right, but my earliest boxing memories is Oscar De La Hoya, Roy Jones Jr. I'm sorry. Yeah, those guys definitely they dominated the sport. So I definitely remember that, especially 03, 04. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, when the golden boy was, that boy at the time, he was lighting them up, and we're not going to talk about Oscar like that. If you know Oscar, when it comes to his background or the things that he was in trouble for or talked about, we'll leave that for another day, another show.
And give credit to Oscar, though. He kind of put Mexico on the map as far as fighting goes and boxing.
Oh, depends. Again, you young, man.
You're right. I'm sorry for the listeners.
Yeah, don't.
There's an age gap here, so.
Yeah, don't say that. You have some people here that want to attack you. Don't say that.
I'm sorry.
There are plenty of Mexican boxers that definitely before Oscar. I know a couple off my head.
Julio, obviously.
Besides Julio, I know there's one more. Let me check my comments. Hopefully, somebody out there is listening and knows the other fighter, because off the top of my head, I don't know, but I know who it is.
Right.
I can't. It's
Right.
not coming to me right now.
Right.
But I know for sure that Oscar is not the only Mexican fighter to put.
I got you.
You're right.
You're right.
But
hey, like I said, we're here also to learn. We're here to give information.
That's what it's for,
receive
baby.
information.
That's
you know what I'm saying? So,
hey, that's what it's for.
Hey, and I'm a lover, not a fighter anyway, guys. So I'm sorry if I don't know my fight history. So.
This fool here. Anyway, so of course after Oscar's reign, we have of course Pretty Boy Floyd's reign, and with Floyd's era of Cinco de Mayo fights, let's just be real. I think Floyd Mayweather is the one that actually put Cinco de Mayo on the map with his fights. And what I mean by that, of course, is not just because of Mayweather's fights, but because of also the money that he was able to generate through the fights. A quick little tidbit, Mayweather still holds records, pay-per-view records for Cinco de Mayo weekend with 11 million pay-per-view buys, 138.5 million live gates, meaning people that walk through the actual gates, 189 million in personal payouts. $289 million in personal payouts. So one quote that Mayweather said was, "I turned Cinco de Mayo into Cinco de Mayweather."
Hey, honestly, like you said, those numbers, it goes to show you, man, he's still Money Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? And hey, I'm feeling like Floyd in this Mayweather. So yeah.
Really? That's what we're doing? That's what we're doing right now?
You open it up.
Oh, Lord.
So I had to.
All righty then.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. That was Drake, right? That was.
Man, that's actually Floyd Mayweather. He did an Instagram caption with that, like 2 years ago back. He's like, I'm feeling like Floyd in his Mayweather. It was during May.
See, I'm not gonna lie. I really thought that was a corny ass line from Drake, but that was even a cornier line from Floyd, and we're just gonna leave that one as that.
Just leave it there.
Please. So after Mayweather, of course, took the fighting world by storm with that. Of course, Manny Pacquiao had his fight in 2009 against Ricky Hatton. And that was I remember that. The beginning of Mayweather's continuing reign of dominance.
Right.
And that was the beginning of the end for Ricky Hatton.
That's true.
You're a little young.
Yeah.
You're a little young, so you might not remember Ricky Hatton and whatnot, but he was supposed to be the next up-and-coming boxer. He was supposed to be that next guy and whatnot. Just unfortunately, it just didn't happen for him. You know, he was in a couple of big fights, just didn't get it done.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure in that 2009 fight, because that was when I graduated high school, that whoever won that fight was supposed to be that next guy. Right. Pacquiao won. He became that next guy.
Yeah, Pacquiao.
Of course, who he is.
Early that decade. As soon as it hit 2010, it kind of like he was that guy. Floyd had been there, but then Mayweather was there. I almost met Mayweather, actually.
Tell me about it. What's up?
Man, it was a fake Mayweather. I know, right? This is a crazy story. Audience now, y'all guys gonna get a good story. But basically, I was 16, so it was like 2011 at the time, guys, and a Mayweather lookalike came to our store with a posse and fans.
Now, can you explain to everybody the store you work at?
Oh yeah, at the time I was working at the Nike factory store at the outlet mall.
Okay.
And he came with about this guy, looks just like Manny Pacquiao. He came with like 4, 5, 6 friends, made him look like security. He goes into the Nike. Is a frenzy. Probably the biggest, and I've worked at stores with celebrities before. That was crazy because Pacquiao was so big at the time. Yeah. Man, it was just a hassle just to even get close to him. I was trying to get a picture with him. We had a Filipino manager at the time. He comes outside, really looks at him. He's like, "That's not Pacquiao." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Look at the frenzy." He's like, "He got you off 8. That's not Pacquiao. That's Macquiao." So we called him Macquiao, not Pacquiao.
Macquiao.
Yeah, man. I met a fake Pacquiao. I still got the picture too, actually. I thought it was real for like a couple hours. So yeah, he got everybody. I actually think he went to the beach later on that month for spring break, and he tricked people. It went viral as well.
Man. Yeah. All I know is you need to bring that picture back in.
So I do.
So we can show the world on the video side that picture or whatnot because that is.
Funny thing is, he's second pick. He took a picture with me like he's the champ. Like you know how they take the fist and everything.
Yeah,
he did all that. I'm like,
you gotta play the part.
You gotta play the part.
If you out here not intimidating, I'm sorry. Impersonating people. You gotta play the part.
You gotta play the part. I said he didn't say. His crazy thing is he didn't open his mouth the whole time. Everybody's just assuming because Pacquiao doesn't speak English.
He speaks very little.
Yeah, very little. But he just didn't want to.
He can get away with it. I can see why he could get away.
Oh yeah, he definitely got away with it. That was a crazy story.
Now, is there any other Pacquiao stories that you have?
I know it's still boxing that I got.
I know for sure. Growing up, our other cousin, hopefully he's listening, Jason.
Oh yeah,
Jason Williams. Jason Williams is a Pacquiao fan.
Yeah, he's in the Pacquiao. Man, it's crazy. Jason and Brandon, they both make a lot of people have switched to mixed martial arts, UFC.
Yes. And shout out to my MMA fans out there, UFC fans out there. Shout out to Duran out there that has a gym out in Sugarland area. If you need MMA work, shout out to Duran. He does that out there in Sugarland.
So crazy though. I'm a basketball, football guy, but I even have got the attention of the UFC. They do a good job of promoting their fighters and showing their personalities, and with the series, I feel like they've grown a lot. The UFC is really cool. It's really cool. But that's about it. That's my boxing story. The fake Pacquiao. That's it for me.
Yeah, I mean UFC has definitely grown from
just
from when I was born. I want to say it started around 1990, around that time frame, and I was born in 1990, and of course I turned 30 this year, and just to see it grow in the 30-year growth that it has. I mean, they were literally fighting for peanuts back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, now they're fighting for $1 million purses. Of course, you have, speaking of Mayweather, of course, you have the Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight recently, where you actually had people thinking that Conor McGregor actually had a chance against Mayweather, but
two different sports people.
Exactly.
Two different crafts.
But people, ate it up, and
did they?
And it worked for both of them when it comes to making that payday, but.
Funny, they knew the results. Floyd and Conor both knew what was going to happen at the end of that night.
Well, I'll say this. They knew what was going to happen, but they also knew it was a big paycheck.
Oh, of course.
So
no
at the end of the day, that paycheck is very nice.
Yeah.
So fast forward after Pacquiao, just wrap everything up right quick with the boxing. Of course, we come in with Canelo Alvarez. And that's right now that's the next guy that's got him, Canelo, and also Triple G. These are the next two guys that are trying to keep the tradition alive when it comes to big pay-per-view fights on Cinco de Mayo. And one quote that Canelo Alvarez says that I thought was really cool to have him say, especially representing his country, is, "I'm proud to represent my country on important days such as this one." Alvarez says, even though Cinco de Mayo is not celebrated in Mexico like that compared to the States. To see people like Canelo Alvarez say, "I'm going to take this responsibility on as an athlete and represent my country well."
Oh yeah, that's really definitely cool. That's definitely cool. Anytime you say you got that pride and you want to do something like that, that's awesome. So.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Also as well, another quote that De La Hoya had said as well is, we still owe it to Chavez, who I'm talking about, of course, Julio Cesar Chavez. He was the first one who brought all the fans together in one city, Las Vegas, and made an event out of it. That's De La Hoya speaking on. If it wasn't for Julio Cesar Chavez, we wouldn't have these great boxing events that we have on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, it's all about paying it forward. All about paying it forward, always.
I agree.
That's important.
And it's great that we have that in boxing because of course, like we talked about, and we have, of course, our show. If you tune in every Monday, a recap of The Last Dance, and if you watch The Last Dance, you see, of course, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and all these other guys that are in the show and whatnot. And it's one of those things that you see the guys that are playing present ball and the guys that are played after them show the respect amongst the GOATs that came before them.
Of course, especially like us being former athletes. Like, I feel like athletes always have to pay it forward because they know what it takes. You know what I mean? Nobody doesn't accidentally become a Kobe Bryant or Oscar De La Hoya or a Michael Jordan. Like, that takes work, that takes sacrifice. So when you see something like that, you have no choice but to give respect, because you know they're doing what the other average person's not doing. So that's another thing too. So you got to give respect to that. They did so much dedication to the craft, especially Kobe. I have a Kobe book I had just recently got, and man, just the obsession to master whatever you're trying to master, like that focus that he had, like, man, I can't wait to talk about it. I know we're gonna get into the Last Dance stuff.
We are.
But I just can't wait to talk about the whole opening Kobe scene, the Laker boy. That's what I call him now. That's what Jordan.
The Laker boy, right?
The Laker boy.
Well, let me answer some questions right quick. Pick up people that's listening and chiming on. Shout out to Greg Turner. He said Ruben Alvarez and Salazar Sanchez were known for putting on Mexico boxing wise. So I appreciate that, Greg. I knew somebody was out there that was going to chime in. I appreciate that, Greg. Shout out to Chad Bowes. He said that he's agreeing to you. He said that Oscar De La Hoya low-key did put on for Cinco de Mayo when it comes to the
shout out to Chad, man. Great minds think alike.
He said Cinco de Mayo is the GOAT.
Yeah.
And of course, shout out to my boy Eric. He said it's the boy Eric.
Shout out to
Appreciate
the boy
you
Eric
for watching and whatnot. So we'll get into, of course, the Last Dance, episode 5 and 6. We weren't able to have our episode yesterday.
Yeah, recap.
We will have, me and you will recap, of course, next week, but we'll have a little short recap right now. How do you feel about watching episode 5 and 6?
Man, 5 and 6. I personally enjoyed both episodes a lot. I just read today that I think episode 6 drew in, or 5, one of the two drew in 6.1 million again,
Really?
Which is just crazy how many people are watching right now. Just perfect timing though. But like you said, who could bring people to the TV like Michael Jordan, right? He was doing it in the 90s, still doing it 20 years later. But for episode 5, man, that whole Kobe Bryant, All-Star weekend, then him speaking about Michael Jordan, that was actually filmed 2 weeks before he passed away.
Yes, I remember you telling me.
Yeah, so it was just, it's emotional. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just, it's still, man. I know it's May, but it's still kind of tough. But at the same time, though, it's really cool to see that relationship they had. And like he said, he paid homage. Like, you can't say, I'm better than Mike, because Kobe did give it to Mike. I remember that 55 that he gave to Mike when he was in the Wizards. So he would bust him up, but like he said, what you see from me, I got from him. You know what I mean? So it's like that pass forward, and just that relationship. Kobe's always been a gunner. You can see all the veterans like, man, who is this guy? He wants to take every shot. He wants the game come to him. But that's Kobe, and he never apologized for being himself. And I felt like that was really cool too. It just goes to show you, even back then, he had that confidence. He's the only teenager in that game. That some people arguably said that he only got in because of his celebrity at the time. Didn't even matter. I'm taking my shots. I'm defending Mike. It's Kobe, man. It was just really cool. So off top, that was cool. Then they got into some stuff like, it wasn't for Michael Jordan's mother, there's no Jordans. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to go to Adidas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He signed with Jordan Brand because his mom didn't take that visit.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool too. And I like how they got into the gambling, the Atlantic City.
Well, you knew that was going to get into that sooner or later.
Yeah.
You're a big Jordan fan. You know what was up.
Oh, yeah, I knew it was up. I thought it was funny, though. When they were interviewing him, I guess he was just coming back from a game. And he was trying to make it seem like, I got back at 1:30, everything's cool, but you clearly have on dark shades. We can't see your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought that was.
I said, if I had a problem,
exactly.
I'd be selling this. I'd be selling that.
I put it like this, guys. These 90s athletes get away with a lot of stuff because that was his answer, and nobody second questioned him after that. It's just so funny to me.
Man, look, it's not just the 90 Bulls. There's a lot of 90 teams, like you said, in the 90s. And the 90s was actually low-key a cleanup decade. The 80s was worse.
70s, crack in the locker room.
Sound like Stephen A. Smith. He was on crack.
He was on straight up, though, man. Like you said, Scottie Pippen, third quarter, talking about, all I'm thinking about is some beer.
Now,
work hard, play hard, man. The definition of these guys right here. Man.
Now, I'll say this. Mindset-wise, I understand completely where Scotty was coming from, because if you was in the Army, shout out to my Army friends, that's how we play. We go out, we go play us some whatever sport it was, football, basketball, baseball, and we like midway in between the game, hey, who buying a case? Because your boy is thirsty. So
exactly.
I definitely
Exactly.
I understand where Scotty was coming from.
And we young. We gonna be up.
You can do that. Anyway. Yeah, when you're 23, 24, 25, you can do that. Yeah. Doing that at 32, 30, 33.
Yeah.
You're not gonna move around as spry as you used to anymore.
But these guys were like Jordan was 35, now he looks 35. Like Scottie Pippen, these guys looked their age. And you see why. You see why. So, but yeah, man, both those episodes was really cool. But the Kobe thing for sure, that stood out to me. Like I really did appreciate all that, the behind the scenes footage. I can't wait till his documentary to come out.
Man, I definitely agree, and I don't know if you also heard as well. My bad. Let me finish that up right quick. But I don't know if you also heard as well, but Magic Johnson might be having his own documentary as well in the works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Magic, watch out for that. Might be a Magic documentary coming out as well. For me, 5 and 6, of course, shout out to Kobe, RIP to Kobe and whatnot when it comes to, seeing him again, alive.
You're right.
I know it sounds weird. Of course, we can watch the throwback games. We can do this and that. But to see him,
just sitting down talking,
really recently and whatnot, it was just like, dang, we really not need to take things for granted because you just don't know.
It's still
you feel me? Yeah. So it was just one of those things where seeing him again is another reason why I started what I started. I started the sports plug and I started what I'm doing now because unfortunately what happened to Kobe, I didn't want to pass up on anything anymore.
You're right.
I didn't want to look up and 4 years later go down the line and I'm not doing what I wanted to do because because I didn't want to do what I love to do because I was worried about the outcome. Or I was worried about what people would say, or worried about whatever. And instead of just going out there and doing and working on your craft and doing what you love and letting everything else fall in place, because when you do that, like Kobe did. Kobe, Michael Jordan, LeBron James right now, when you work on your craft, everything else will fall in place. The money, the cars, the homes, the endorsements, all that stuff.
And it makes life full. Like you said, Kobe only lived 46 years on this earth, but he squeezed every little thing he had out of those 46. So even though it was only 46, the impact he had was somebody who had lived 200, 300 years. And that's no hyperbole. For an average person, the impact he had was about like 4 times over.
I mean, he was able to speak, 6, 7 languages. He was somebody that made a global footprint. And
his second career was going to be bigger than his first one, which is crazy. He's one of the greatest players to ever play. And
we're not gonna get on a sappy
not today.
Talk on Kobe and whatnot. It's a celebration and whatnot. Of course, he was a big Hispanic supporter, so of course, like I said, hey, Cinco de Mayo, baby. Of course, shout out to Vanessa Bryant and whatnot. Just one of those things where we're not here to mope. We're here to celebrate accomplishments and greatness and whatnot.
That's true.
And like I said, with Kobe, it was just one of those things where we all appreciate his greatness. We appreciate what he did because what he did honestly was he was able to bridge the gap from the Jordan era to this era where he is now with the LeBron era. Because LeBron was the one that took over. LeBron was the one that was able to come into the game without how can you say, without having to, because Kobe didn't come.
Jordan cloud over it.
Exactly. Like Kobe went in and sat behind Eddie Jones, and he had to work his way back up as a high school guy that kind of had to prove it every game, right? LeBron came in like, we expect you to do this and that,
right?
And if you don't meet these expectations, you're a failure,
right? And like you said, he's the bridge. Like he set that example, that standard, that Mamba mentality, that for us, for that new generation. This guy's the same guy who. Yeah, he played with D'Angelo Russell, but when he entered the league, Jordan only had 4 titles. So it's like he bridges a whole generation of people and players. So man, like obviously you guys who know X, y'all have to explain. You see the Kobe Bryant jersey, 33 in the back.
We out here.
So hey, the love is there, man.
Shout out to George Arietta with the A for the H-Town. Shout out to you, baby. But yeah, it's just one of those things where again, and just to wrap it up. It was just great to see. It was just great to be able to finally, I won't say finally close the chapter on it, but just to get that kind of it'll get for Kobe when it comes to Shaq and Michael Jordan, be able to have that closed chapter on both of those, be able to look, Shaq and Kobe look each other in the eye and say,
I did like that. They did get close.
To be able to say, we both messed up, but we're okay with that. We can look past that, and we can look towards the future of being fathers.
Right.
Him and Michael, it was, of course, the budding rivalry of little brother, big brother.
Right.
Now it was Kobe, you're accepted. Like
Right.
you're accepted in this. Like now it's time to start the next journey.
Right.
You know, and that was the whole thing of like, man, we couldn't see the next journey. So,
Yeah.
But anyways, like I said, we're not going to talk about too much of the bad. We're going to talk about the good.
Yes.
And speaking of the good, I don't know if you heard about this or not, but it is some talks of a NBA basketball team.
Oh man, you talking about some good news.
NBA basketball team that might be popping up in Las Vegas soon.
I think.
How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I feel like Vegas needs a team. When I read this information,
agree.
I thought it was interesting. I actually agree. You know, they just got the Raiders. It brings in a lot of money. Sports betting is at an all-time high. What's interesting here, which kind of reminds me of the New Orleans situation when the Hornets went to New Orleans and they had to go to OKC because of the Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
That was used as a test. It was supposed to be temporary, but it went so well that they're like, we need an NBA team here.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's reports saying that MGM, Las Vegas, they may have the temporary season finish off in Vegas.
Yep.
Perfect time to experiment, see how the turnout is. Hey, if it does good, people are coming, locals are coming, we need a team here. And Vegas definitely needs a team. I mean, look at some of the cities that have teams. And this is not the poo-poo any of these cities. I love all cities, everybody who's checking out this podcast, but come on now, Las Vegas should definitely have a team. Come on.
No, I definitely agree. The thing with Vegas, I think that's what really hurt Vegas as a city is that it's a traveling city. You know, a lot of people are traveling in and out. So I think what kind of hurt them on why they don't have a professional team is I think the guys that are in charge of the professional organizations, they probably looked at the city of Las Vegas as a city that wouldn't generate as much capital because they
consistent attendance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They didn't think that people would come out to Vegas. But if you look at the population of Las Vegas is growing every year, every 5 years.
That is very true.
It is growing. And then also, of course, like you said, besides the Las Vegas Raiders that are just now coming there, they also have Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah.
And they also have the Las Vegas Knights, the NHL team.
Okay, I was like filming you.
So I'll get that. So you have these other professional teams that are there. So it wouldn't be like an NBA team would just be there and that'll be the only thing that's there. I think it would be a great thing. And then also, who knows, maybe a baseball team might join as well because they're supposed to be in talks of another expansion baseball team as well. So
right.
I think Vegas as a city is on the rise. And again, if you are listening, if you have money, I would invest in Vegas on the sports scene, on everything, on the sports scene, the technology scene, the betting scene, all that stuff, because Vegas is an up-and-coming city. And I just really think that if you were a smart person, you need to go ahead and invest in Vegas.
Like you said, it is growing. I know a lot of people who actually have moved to Vegas these past couple of years. It's not just a strip no more, guys.
Oh yeah, no,
it's not just that no more. It's getting there. You get an NBA team in there. Like I said, I really do feel like John Gruden and the Raiders are going to turn it up. It's interesting. Just as a hardcore NBA fan, you're always kind of wary of expansion because with this expansion, naturally, at least in the short term, comes dilution. I'm sorry. The league is a little bit diluted because players are leaving other teams and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm all for Vegas getting a team. I'm all for Seattle getting their team back.
Yeah, we definitely need Seattle to get a team.
Come on now.
And before we actually get to Seattle, because I'm happy you brought it up, because I definitely want to talk about Seattle. Shaq said, I heard through the grapevine that there are a couple of teams for sale, and one may be going to Vegas. Shaq said on his podcast, the Big Podcast. And again, with things like that circulating, I definitely feel like Vegas and Seattle has to be two of the cities that are next when it comes to getting a team. Gotta be.
It's almost like it needs to be a necessity that Seattle gets their team back. With that history that team has, it's almost unfair that the team actually got lifted because they always were as good at attendance. Seattle's a big basketball state, surprisingly.
No, it's not surprising.
Yeah, there's a lot of hoopers
coming out of Washington State.
Yeah. There's a lot of hoopers come out of Washington. A lot of pro-ams come out of Washington. Yeah. A lot of players.
Very underrated state when it comes to hooping. Apparently, it's a underrated mecca.
It really is. So they definitely need their team back, especially with the history, man. You got Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, even before that.
Young KD. KD was there.
Right.
Young KD.
He wants the team back. He wants the team back. So why not, man? Bring them back. But then after that, I do really feel like Vegas, especially before we start expanding to other countries, because I do know Adam Silver wants a team in Europe. I do know He wants to see Mexico City.
Yeah, I was gonna make some.
So obviously we have a couple games there every year. But before we do that, let's take care of the cities that deserve it here. Let's take care of people who really want it here. I really feel like Vegas have a good turnout with the NBA team.
Well, the reason why, of course, is definitely Mexico City. If you just look at the numbers when it comes to any time you play a football game or a basketball game, I mean, it's automatically sold out. So I understand completely why you would want to have a team out in Mexico City, and there's definitely no problem with that at all. But at the end of the day, of course, it's always going to come down to money. It's always going to come down to business. But if you are able to give back to a city like a Seattle, I think a city like a Seattle will definitely give back tenfold if you give them an opportunity to have a team back. So
definitely, look how they come out for Seahawks games. Some of the best home field advantage in the league.
Probably at least top 3.
Definitely top. Yeah, off top. Yeah, definitely top 3. You're better than my Cowboys. We have way too many visitor opponents coming to our stadium, so way too comfortable.
It's funny you talk about the Cowboys because I was definitely going to bring it up when it comes to
my boys.
When it comes to the backup quarterback. How you feel about this backup quarterback that you guys got, Mr. Andy Dalton? Shout out to Andy.
It's funny, man. Naturally, I feel like people automatically are going to go on the defense as far as why they're putting this pressure on Dak, why they're bringing in another experienced guy. They're franchise tag. They're not putting their trust in them, but. Guys, we need a backup quarterback, and let's just be real. Andy Dalton's from Texas. You know what I'm saying? This is
from the H, baby.
From the H. This is a little
from
bit,
the H.
Exactly. This is a little bit of a
little red rocket.
Thing. Yeah, Jerry and Steven probably been seeing him play since he was in high school.
Katy, Texas.
Right out of Katy, Texas. Shout out to Drake. He shouted out Katy, Texas on his new album, so I appreciate that.
Here we go with this.
But but no, man, I don't think much of it. Honestly, I think it's important to have a good backup quarterback the way the league is today. And stuff like that, Hey, put some pressure on Dak. He's franchise tag, right? So, hey, you got to earn it. That's what you do.
I'll say this. To be completely honest, I think it was a great move by Jerry Jones. I think it was a great move, not by Jerry Jones, also by Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, if you look at everything, if you look at the makeup of what is going on, at the end of the day, professional football is not just about winning, of course. It's a business.
Definitely.
So, if you have a guy like Dak that's played well,
right,
but hasn't played past expectations, like a Lamar Jackson or a Patrick Mahomes,
right?
Why would I want to invest $100+ million in you yet if I haven't seen you take us to the next level?
Exactly.
So if I can get somebody in here as a backup for cheap, and also somebody, because if you look at the numbers. And do not like stats. I am not a stat person. The numbers look pretty decent with Andy Dalton. Of course, because you had AJ Green.
True.
But I'll also say because you also had Marvin Lewis is another reason why you aren't able to, succeed the way that you need to.
You start on that guy.
But this could be a new beginning for Andy Dalton. This could be, he could be the John Kitna for the Cowboys, coming from the Bengals to the Cowboys and coming in and playing a couple of decent games, and who knows?
Definitely. I definitely agree. Look.
Yeah. And also, my bad to cut you off, I also say this puts pressure on Dak as well. This puts pressure on Dak as well to come in this year to perform. And if he doesn't perform, I'm not saying they're gonna let him go. I'm just saying there can be some shakeup things that are going on in Dallas.
Exactly. Look, man, I got for everybody who's listening who's a Cowboys fan, anybody who knows me, who's watching this, I know a lot of people like Dak. Look, you can give me stats as to why he actually had a good season, but guys, we haven't won in a long time. We used the same stats excuse for Tony Romo. He's still a elite quarterback, but the most important stat is winning. The most important stat is a W. We missed the playoffs. Everybody's to blame. Quarterback is the most blamed because if he would have won, he would have got the most credit. So he gets the most blame. We missed the playoffs. Let's put the pressure on him. Like you said, Andy Dalton. I feel like this is a good change for him because he's back home. He's been in Cincinnati in Ohio, playing just for that inept franchise, playing for Marvin Lewis, who held his job for way too long. I don't even understand what was going on over there.
He had pictures of the owner.
Right. Yeah.
He had them unsolicited pictures.
Right, exactly, right. He had some leverage. But let's bring him back over here. And like I said, I'm a full believer in our starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, but you can never have too much of anything in the NFL. One thing the NFL stands for, guys, is not just National Football League. It's not for long. It's not for long. Not for long. And more than anything, I want another Super Bowl back in the city of Dallas. More than anything. So whatever gets us closer to that, I'm down for. I need it before before Jerry's time ticks, and I would like it before I'm 30. If I could get that, everything else in my life would be okay.
Not gonna happen and not gonna happen. So with that being said, we are done with Cowboys talk. No, but on serious note, you have the talent. You have the new coach.
Vegas third best odds.
I don't care about how Vegas,
6-1
odds before the season even starts. I don't care about any of those odds. I don't care about any of that stuff. What I care about is the actual team makeup. The team, the way it looks when it comes to going into the season. You have a pretty decent team, the way it might look going into the season.
Right.
I'm pretty sure a couple more pieces might get added, but for now, we have to see. We should have a football season. We have to see how this Mike McCartney offense look going into
Right. And I like what you said. And so many people think nowadays more than ever, football's played in July and August. Like football's not played till the fall. You can't. The Browns were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of this year.
Football for me, somebody that's actually played and watched football for a long time. Football to me don't get started until week 6, week 7, week 8.
Yeah,
I know that sounds weird.
Mean nothing.
I know that sounds weird, but the first 4 weeks of the season is still preseason. 4 through 8 is okay. We got our footing. We seeing, we now teams know who they are. Week 8 through 12 is real football. That's during November, December.
Yeah, I like that.
And then 12 through 16 is playoff seeding.
Right.
Then after that is you locking in your playoff position.
Right.
12
like
to 17.
I like how you.
That's just how I've always broke down. Yeah. That's just how I've always broke it down. And I've seen teams like the Arizona Cardinals back in the mid 2000s where they went 8-0 and then they lose the rest of their games at the end of the season and they don't even make the playoffs.
What year was that?
I want to say don't quote me, but I want to say
that's funny, man.
2007. I gotta go look it up, not for sure. I think I'm wrong, but I want to say 2007, and they went like 8-0, whatever like that, and then they ended up losing, I think, the last 7 games or whatever like that, and they ended up not even making playoffs.
Right.
And I've also seen teams that the Colts, I want to say 2018, they went 0-5 starting off, or 1-5 starting off, and ended up winning. I want to say 10 straight. Yeah, they won 10 straight and ended up making to the playoffs. So the season isn't over with in the first 4 to 6 weeks. It's just, are you resilient enough, and are you able to get past the bad month that you had,
right,
and know that you actually have a good team that can take you to the promised land?
Hey, after the first 3 weeks, I thought we were going to the Super Bowl. 3-0, 3 weeks.
Yeah, you and all the other Cowboy fans that thought that too.
Right, but no, it's funny how you say that from a basketball perspective.
I definitely didn't think that y'all going at all, but yeah.
Of course you didn't.
But anyways, keep going.
No, but from a basketball perspective, you always say, like, look, the unofficial start of the season is December 25th.
Yes, sir.
Christmas game. That's when the casuals come. That's when the ratings come. And it's kind of like that with football, too. That's when it really nitty-gritty. I really do appreciate those week 8 through week 12 matchups. That's like you said, when you get it, you really can't tell anything from the first 4 weeks. I've learned just from you and just from watching football. Man, those first 4 weeks, it's a crapshoot.
It's
honestly.
Again, you can, but the same teams that are playing great at week 3 flame out at week 13 and they don't make the playoffs.
Because how was it, 17 weeks?
It's 17 weeks.
It's a grind, 17 man. Week 11, there's no guarantee.
1 bye week.
Week 12, there's no guarantee.
Not at all.
The Giants. Oh wait, didn't they kind of fumble into the postseason that year?
You talking about
when they beat the Patriots? The first time?
They were a wild card team.
Right.
Made the playoffs as a wild card team and took that momentum on and ended up winning the Super Bowl that year.
Right.
And that's also the Packers did as well with Aaron Rodgers and beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Teams can do it. Right. We've seen teams do it going to the playoffs with that momentum, but it's just very hard to do it going into the playoffs knowing that you're going to play every game on the road.
Exactly.
Because
that's a good point.
That's another reason why the Patriots are in the Super Bowl every year.
Yes.
We're able to go into the playoffs knowing that, 1, you're going to go have a bye, and 2, you only got to win 1 game at home to go to the conference championship game.
Right.
And then you're in the conference championship game at home, and then you win that, and then all of a sudden you're in the Super Bowl. I mean, the path is really, really.
Think of the mental advantages. You got to get through Gillette. Come on, I got to beat Brady and Belichick at the crib.
Not even just that, too.
You're beating before you even kick off.
The weather.
And the weather, yeah.
I mean, if you have not been to Boston, if you have not been to Foxborough before, please go. If that needs to be a bucket list, I know Brady isn't there anymore, but if you're not, even if you're not a Patriots fan, please go to Foxborough. Please check it out. it is one of those sites that, you'll definitely never forget. And the weather itself, especially if you go during a November, December game.
Heck,
yeah, you'll
never
want to go again.
Florida, so.
You'll never want to go again. I'll tell you that. But anywho, anything else?
Oh man, I feel like shoot, right now it's a lot of things. What do you think about? Because we never really spoke on it. What is your feeling for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Like I said, I know they're kind of like the team. They're the love child. They're 2020's version of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. Well,
no, because everybody fell in love with the Cleveland Browns this time last year when Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield had the rookie season he had. They were kind of the casual fans' love child. I feel like Tampa Bay is becoming ESPN's kind of like love child, whatever. They feel like they're going to have a really good season. But like you said, you're a football guy. I want you to say, how do you feel about that roster, how it was made up with Gronk coming back? Obviously, they got Mike Evans, Tom Brady. What do you think? What's your expectations for them and for him? So,
to be completely honest, this is not the same like the Cleveland Browns situation.
It isn't.
It's not. But I understand media hoopla. Right. That's what you're talking about.
It was a reach. It was a Colin Cowherd comparison. It was a reach. I tried to.
We won't talk about Colin Cowherd on the show ever. But anyway, yes, it is kind of like the media hoopla wise of the Browns, because of course you have Tom Brady, you have TB12 coming into Tampa Bay, coming into a new situation, 20 years into your NFL career, and with this all being new for Tom Brady, for the BUCS, for the state of Florida, it's going to be something very cool to watch, to develop, because I'll say this.
Right.
The sky is the limit. What I mean by that is, if Tom Brady comes in and really does what Tom Brady's supposed to do, and if Bruce Arians coached the way he's supposed to coach, and if you just have half of the season what Jameis Winston just had with Byron Leftwich as offensive coordinator, because even though Jameis had 33 interceptions, he still led the league in passing. The Tampa Bay offense could be relatively pretty good.
Shout out to Brian Leftwich. I didn't know he was the offensive coordinator there, but like Madden 07 or 06, one of those two, he was a baller on there. I remember. So shout out to him.
Also shout out to Byron Leftwich as well. Got the jersey at the house. Shout out to Byron. It's one of them OG jerseys I used to have. Yes, sir. I got that as well. But yes, I think Tampa Bay can be a challenge in the NFC if everything happens the right way. If Brady's able to stay healthy, if Gronkowski is able to stay healthy.
Man, that's a whole other dimension.
Mike Evans is coming off an injury.
That's true.
Is
that just the nature of football though? Somebody's always coming off an injury. I always feel like
this is very true, but at the end of the day, when you are getting older, right, it's harder to come back from injuries compared to if you are 18, 19, 20, 21.
That's facts.
That's true. Being a football player just by itself, a football player, you have to play through injuries. It is what it is. But again, with that Tampa Bay team as a whole,
right,
I think personally that they can make it to an NFC Championship game. I'm not talking about with the Tom Brady rules. I'm just saying because of the makeup of the team, I think that they are actually a really good team. Now, I also see that they could be an 8-8 team. Right. I think that they can go either here or they can go here. It just all depends on the makeup of the team. If they can come together as a team, I really think that they can go to the NFC Championship game or maybe even Super Bowl, because, of course, the Super Bowl is played in Tampa Bay this year.
Two ways this can go, guys, basically. It could go Brett Favre with the Vikings or Brett Favre with the Jets.
I like Mr. Brett Favre with the Vikings.
Yeah, I love Brett Favre with the Vikings.
He played pretty decent. Even when he played with the Jets, he played pretty decent.
Yeah, you're right.
He played decent. He didn't go to AFC Championship game, but he played pretty decent with the Jets.
Yeah, I just hope it's not one of those things like I'm gonna end up forcing out my memory. We forget Michael Jordan on the Wizards. We forget Joe Montana on the Chiefs. We forget.
Don't say Peyton with the Broncos, because Peyton won a Super Bowl. So.
He's actually one of the guys that I feel like Tom Brady should look at, even though he played terrible that Super Bowl. But that's
he did. He had a noodle arm, but he still got the job done.
Right. This is gonna be a good NFL season, man. I haven't seen this much offseason hype for an NFL season in a long time. They had such a good season last year. I feel like they're in a good spot, man, with Lamar and Deshaun, and
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
Pat
say
being the
same
faces
thing.
of the league and
On both
everything.
sides, the AFC and the NFC.
Yes.
I think it's gonna be off the chain.
Man, I can't. What Cam ends up? Real quick.
No, it's great that you brought that up because
Yeah.
I actually wanted to talk about
Yeah.
that. I'm happy you brought that up.
Yeah.
I mean, man, if you look at the NFL landscape right now, he actually just had I saw a little report on him saying that he does not want to go to a team unless he starts.
Which he deserves that.
I mean, he does. Not saying that he doesn't. I'm a big Cam fan and whatnot. I hope him nothing but the best and whatnot. But
it's the NFL. It's not the NBA.
You're correct. You're correct. And you might have to suck it up and put that ego to the side and say, man, I might need to go to Pittsburgh. You know, I might need to go somewhere that I can learn from and also be around somewhere team-wise that's a great culture that if he was able to get in the game, because everybody knows, let's be real, everybody knows Ben Roethlisberger gets hurt.
Everybody
knows
Big
Ben.
I like that.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Look, everybody knows Big Ben gets hurt at least 2 or 3 times a game.
Right.
So if Cam can come in there and do what he does, don't mess up the game, and do your dab out there in Heinz Field, then there's no problem. I feel like coming in, and maybe, like you said, maybe Big Ben leaves. You can come there and be the successor for the next 3 or 4 years, and you have a second career with Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh is going to need a quarterback going forward.
Right.
So, and Pittsburgh is a team that doesn't really go out and get big name free agent quarterbacks. They usually get their quarterbacks through the draft. That's how they got Big Ben in 2004. So for right now, it just seems like to me, I just feel like that's the easiest route to go, unless that's just unless Cam just doesn't want to do that. It just seems like he wants to go somewhere where he can start day one and still be the guy, and that's understandable, but
it can hurt you. Look at Melo.
You're 100% correct, sir.
Right. Look at AI.
100% correct.
Sometimes you got to put the prize to the side. I love that fit with the chemistry of that team, how it's made up with Mike Tomlin. And we all know that Ben Roethlisberger's at the end. He's like 50-50 on retiring like every offseason. Like you said, there's been reports saying he doesn't even take his offseason training that seriously.
Big Ben out in West Virginia right now shooting bears.
Exactly. The way he treats his body, he may get hurt week 5, week 6. I don't wish injury nobody, but
man, he ain't gonna get hurt. He punchy. People gonna bounce off him.
He can learn from Cam. Man, his post-career, he should want his back end of his career. Let me look at a guy who's big. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're 100% correct.
Perfect fit. I like how you brought that up. That never crossed my mind. I was thinking Jacksonville. I was thinking teams didn't necessarily need a quarterback at the time.
I've seen that. I've seen that for a lot of people through social media and also, ESPN and Fox and whatnot when it comes to, Jacksonville, maybe even the Chargers. I've thrown out the Chargers too. Yeah. The Bears, of course. But
a lot of people think he's going to Chicago. My brother thinks he's going to Chicago.
But honestly, I just feel like it's such an easy transition to go from Carolina to Pittsburgh and not just learn, but also you will have an opportunity to be able to play, because if history shows that Big Ben is going to get hurt, and if he gets hurt, then you might as well have somebody because if you look at the NFL landscape, they have some pretty decent backup quarterbacks like you see with the Cowboys.
A lot of good backups now.
Okay, so if that's the case, you might as well have a decent backup quarterback. Exactly. So again, if you were able to get into the playoffs, or you're in week 13, 14, somebody goes down and all you need to do is win 2 out of the last 4 games, but you're worried about that backup quarterback being able to get it done. You don't have to worry about that because you have somebody that's been able to get it done in the past.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I definitely agree. I was always under the opinion that Cam, crazy theory, but he should just should have did like Andrew Luck and just pull like a 1-year retirement, because I honestly do feel like, man, it was the breaking down of the body for both of them. They just needed a full season of just not getting touched.
Well, technically,
more than anything.
Technically, Andrew haven't came back yet, so you need more like Gronk.
You're right.
Andrew said, I'm done. I thought he was going to come back too. I ain't going to lie. I thought he was going to come back too. But Gronk, and I agree with you. Somebody that's personally done it himself when it comes to taking a year off of football and coming back, I felt so much better being able to come back after that year off. And I agree 100% when it comes to, if you feel like you are that great as a starting quarterback, take a year off. Go get some rehab done. Go get your body 100% correct when you come back, and you can still play at that Super Bowl caliber level. If you feel like you can play at that level, then come back and play.
To tie it into Last Dance, I feel like what helped Mike so much so often
was then maybe we'd have that break.
Man, it's for sure, because people do say, man, he came back and he was after playing for sport, but muscle memory is muscle memory. Once you're a certain level of good, you're not gonna get worse. But when you can say that on the knees and on the joints, man, I really do feel like a lot of Cam's issues were breakdowns just with the body. Yeah, full year. I'm all for that, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's my campaign, is Cam to Pittsburgh. I don't know how much weight it has to, but it just makes too much sense. You heard it here first at the Sports Plug.
Cam to Pittsburgh. You heard it here first.
Please tune in, Cam. That's where you need to go. He's working. I follow Cam on social media. It's hard to because he's always typing in weird fonts.
Yeah,
but man, he's working. He's working out the gospel.
Man, look.
That's when you know you're ready to
first
reckoning.
Cam is about my age. About 29. It should be no reason why you typing like that. I know it's not him. I know that you got somebody doing it for him or whatnot. But I can't read it, son. All right? I need help. My eyes hurt. Please help me out, son. I'm out here reading Child's Play, trying to read the damn Instagram captions. I don't want to read it. No more.
Man. It looks like something that was typed on the side.
It's some R2D2 stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
May the fourth be with you type stuff. I don't want it.
It's hieroglyphics. You need a translator. Definitely.
Dang, we still love you though, Cam. We still support you. But get the Instagram stuff, situated, please, because I ain't trying to read that stuff no more.
Oh no.
And shout out to Greg Turner, still checking out the broadcast. Chris Godwin is super underrated. He's the wide receiver for the Tampa Bay BUCS.
Okay. He probably is. I don't know him, so thank you.
Now I'll say this: that is one guy that they always throw in that he is. Another piece of the offense for the Tampa Bay BUCS.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's. I think he's a speedster. He's a great speedster. Right. I think he's pretty decent route running.
Right.
But I don't think he's that great to where they think that they can go to the Super Bowl with it. I still think they need maybe another piece on the offense. And I'm not saying Antonio Brown.
Right.
But what I am saying is, yes, they probably will need another piece in Tampa besides, of course, Gronk and whatnot. They're going to need another wide receiver. So it'll be very interesting to see how that dynamic, again, plays out as well when it comes to what they're going to add on.
Yeah, and shout out to Greg, man. I know how it feels to have an underrated receiver on the roster. I feel like Michael Gallup for the Dallas Cowboys is underrated. As soon as we drafted CeeDee Lamb, which was a great pick.
That was nice.
That was a great pick, great receiver. But I see all these receiving lineups talking about, now you got CeeDee Lamb and we have Amari Cooper. But let's not forget about Mike Gallup, man. Before that injury, first 5 weeks he was balling. So I do know how it feels to have a wide receiver on a team that you like that's underrated. So I'm definitely gonna look at some of that footage, Greg, and check him out. But he also is playing a long time. Mike Evans. I don't know. If he was in Buffalo, the main receiver, would you say he's underrated?
Exactly. No, I agree. I definitely agree with that. Thank you for bringing that.
Because he brings a lot of attention to his side. Mike, dude. Come on now. I like that though.
Well, I'm almost done with my Dos Equis, and we're pretty much about to wrap this up.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you for joining in on this special edition of. Cinco de Mayo edition of the Sports Plug.
Yes.
Me and Jordan will be back on Monday to recap The Last Dance.
Yes.
We'll have another special guest. So if you are tuning in, please come back.
And for the frequent listeners, what I want you guys to do who tune in, we do appreciate you tuning in every time. Give us some questions. Give us some talking points because we do love to interact with everybody who's watching. We are really grateful, really appreciative. We see you guys. So come up. You got a whole week. Come up with some questions too. We're going to talk about them and get into them as well.
I appreciate that, Jordan, because you're definitely correct. People that are tuning in on a consistent basis, and even for the new viewers as well.
Yes.
Please, chime in. We are interactive, and we definitely like to hear the things that you have as well. Also as well, if you are tuning in after the live performance is over with on YouTube,
yes.
Please comment on the YouTube section, subscribe as well. And also, like I said, check us out on our Anchor when it comes to the podcast. If you don't want to watch us, you can also listen to us on the Sports Plug podcast as well. Check us out on Anchor.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Like I said, I just want to say I appreciate you, George, for tuning for coming.
Man, I appreciate you, X, man. I appreciate this podcast. I appreciate this day, this holiday. I appreciate this Dos
Equis. Hopefully next year, baby, we sponsored and we get it for the free.
For the free.
For the free.
Like I said, guys, you guys out here now, so you guys got to celebrate responsibly. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Dos Equis and tacos. It's a great mix. Thank you.